This video is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc. If you're looking for cards in the US, look no further as you can use the promo code MTGMudsta to get you 5% off anything on the site. You can also use the promo code MTGMudsta for 5% off your orders from Face-to-Face Games, Canada's largest Magic the Gathering store, with qualified orders getting free shipping Canada-wide. And if you just want to help out the channel, you can always consider becoming a patron for as little as $1 a month and join the generic Goblin Gang. Hey gang, and welcome back. Today's game is another studio setup, with Nick playing Jacques, MJ's playing Toluz, Clever Conductor, I've borrowed Max's Kamiz, Obscure Oculus, and Max is playing Jinnie Fay, Jetmir's Second. Nick wins the die roll and starts us off. He plays a forest and casts that sweet turn 1 Soul Ring. MJ draws, plays a plains, and passes. I play a swamp and pass. Max plays a tap Jetmir Garden, passing turn. Nick plays a plains and casts a Cool Tribe Elder. He sacrifices it for a mountain, passing while searching. MJ plays a swamp and casts an Asylum Visitor. I draw and play a Skycloud Expanse, and follow up with a Ghosted Pilferer. Max just plays a forest. Nick draws and has enough mana on turn 3 for a Staff of Nin. MJ plays a Scrubland and casts Painful Truths with 2 colors to draw 2 and lose 2. They then pass turn. I play a plains and go to combat. I swing the Pilferer at Nick, who pings it with a Staff of Nin, and after that, I pass turn. Max has a plains for turn, and taps out for Jinnie Fay and passes back to Nick. Nick draws, and I cycle Ash Barrens. He then plays a tap Jungle Shrine and casts a Ripjaw Raptor, passing to MJ. MJ plays a tap Path of Ancestry and passes turn. I play an island and cast Kamiz and pass turn. Max has a Tireless Tracker, followed by a forest, making a clue token, which actually comes in as a cat token instead. He then passes, and on his end step, Nick goes to ping his Ripjaw Raptor to draw a card, but MJ responds by casting Swords to Plowshares with the trigger on the stack, exiling the dinosaur and preventing the draw. Nick draws 2 thanks to the staff, and plays a Boros Guildgate. He then plays a Brash Taunter, passing turn. MJ draws and casts Toluz, scrying 1 to the bottom with Path of Ancestry, and then connives. Nick responds by pinging Toluz with his staff, and with Toluz dying, MJ ends up discarding a Grimoire of the Dead to the trigger, and then passes turn. I play an island, and then play and crack away for his bauble, going to find a swamp, and passing back to Max. Max draws and plays a Sokenzan, and makes a cat token from the Tireless Tracker trigger. Moving to combat, he swings 1 cat at MJ, and the rest of his creatures at Nick. Nick blocks Jinnie Fay with the Brash Taunter, dealing 3 to Max, and then takes the rest. Max follows up his combat step with an Assembled Legion, passing back to Nick. Nick draws and plays a Rootbound Crag. He then casts a Light Minefield to shut down combat basically, and passes to MJ. MJ draws and plays an Ominous Seas. With nothing else, they pass turn. I play a swamp in my main phase and cast Tevit, Seller of Secrets, and we get put to vote. This has me gaining 3 treasures and 2 clue tokens off the trigger. After that, I move to combat, swinging Kamiz at Max, which connives. I discard Dust to Dawn to the trigger and add a +1/+1 counter to my commander, and Max takes 3. Max makes a soldier from the Assemble Legion, and then it comes in as a cat token thanks to Jinnie Fay, and then draws for turn. He plays Kadama's Reach, going to find a plains into play and a mountain to hand, which he then plays for turn. This has him making 2 clue tokens, which he actually keeps as clues, and then cracks 1 of them to draw a card. After that, he passes, and on Nick's end step, he fights Tevit with the Brash Taunter to deal 6 to me, and then pings MJ with the staff for 1. Nick draws 2 and plays a Sunpetal Grove. He then plays Jacques, and after that, passes turn. MJ draws and plays Kaya, Ghost Assassin, and once she's out, down ticks her to make everyone discard a card. They finally hit a land with a Rafine's Tower, and pass after that. I draw and play an island. I cast Sword of Feast and Famine and equip it onto my commander. Moving to combat, I swing Tevit at Nick, dealing 6. We then go to vote again, and this time I end up with 5 treasures and a clue, and after that, I pass. Max gets to make 2 tokens from the Assembled Legion, and they come in as cat tokens, and he draws. He then plays a Bootlegger Stash and passes, and on his end step, Nick flashes in a Dictate of Heliod. Nick draws his 2 and plays a Forest. He plays a Frilled Death Spitter, passing to MJ. MJ draws and plays a Jace Friend's Prodigy, as well as Estrid's Invocation, copying the Ominous Seas. They then downtick Kaya again, and I respond by cracking 2 clue tokens, before being forced to discard. After that, MJ passes. I draw and play a Mask of the Schemer, and equip it and the Sword to Devit. Moving to combat, I swing the Sphinx at max, and I trigger it, the Mask, and the Sword. This has me gaining 3 treasures and 6 clues off of it, and then I get to connive 8 times to put 5 +1/+1 counters onto it, and then untap my lands while Max discards a Champion of Lambholt. After that, I pass, and on my end step, Max goes to make a treasure off the Bootlegger's stash, and Nick responds by casting Aura Mutation on the Assembled Legions, blowing it up and making 5 Saprolings. Max draws and plays a Battlefield Forge, making a clue token. He then plays Academy Manufacture and activates the stash 3 times, making 3 treasure tokens and 6 cats. He then cracks a clue with his treasure to draw and pass his turn. On his end step, Nick fights Tvit with a Brash Taunter, dealing 13 to Max, and then pings the Frilled Death Spitter with the staff to ping Max for another 2. Nick draws his 2 and goes to fight Tvit again, dealing 13 more to Max. Max responds by activating the Bootlegger's stash to make 3 treasures, food tokens, and clue tokens. He then cracks 2 foods to gain 6 and stay alive. Nick then plays Cacaphodon and pings it to untap his Brash Taunter. Moving to combat, he swings the Brash Taunter and Death Spitter at Max, with Light Minefield dealing 2 to each of his creatures, which both ping Max for another 4. Realizing he's going to die even if he blocks, Max decides to almost take someone out by throwing 30 power in front of the Brash Taunter and blocking the Death Spitter with the Academy Manufacture. The Death Spitter then deals 2 more to Max to finish him off, and Nick sends the further 30 from the Brash Taunter at me, which, while it's on the stack, has me responding with Teferi's Protection to phase out. We then move to Nick's second main phase, and he plays a Marauding Raptor and passes. MJ draws and plays an island. They then play a Fell Spectre, making Nick discard a card and take 2. They then activate Jace to loot, and uses Kaya's 0 to exile itself and the Brash Taunter until their next upkeep. MJ then follows up with a Necrogen Mists, and after that, passes. I crack 2 clue tokens in response to the Mist trigger, drawing 2, and then discarding a card and losing 2, before drawing for turn. I then cast a Smothering Tithe, and fearing discarding a million cards to the Mass trigger, decide to just pass turn instead of attacking. Nick responds to the Asylum Visitor trigger by pinging it with a staff, and then draws 2. He then moves to combat, swinging the Cacaphodon and 3 Saprolings at MJ, and they take 13, while Cacaphodon untaps the staff. Nick then plays a Command Tower and casts Cultivate before passing. MJ brings back Kaya and Brash Taunter, which takes 2 off the Marauding Raptor as it comes in and deals 2 to MJ. They then play a Gaia Reach Sanitarium, and the 1-2 punch of Turgrid, and then cast a Dark Deal. This powerful combo only has MJ getting a Plains and Swiftfoot Boots, but at least deals 6 damage to me and 2 damage to Nick. MJ then loots with the Jace and flips it, and then downticks Jace to cast Swords to Plowshares from their graveyard on the Brash Taunter. They then follow up by downticking Kaya to draw a card, and make Nick and I discard a card and take 2, and after that, MJ passes. I once more respond to the Necrogen Mists by cracking 2 clue tokens before discarding a Darkwater Catacombs to MJ and drawing for turn. I then play a Chroma's Will, which unequips my Mask of the Schemers, and I move my sword over onto Kamiz. I swing Tvit at MJ and Kamiz at Nick, and the first strike damage nets me 3 treasures and clues apiece with Tvit's trigger, while Kamiz untaps my lands and makes MJ discard a card. Before regular damage, I crack 3 clue tokens to draw 3, and I kill MJ with Tvit, and then deal another 5 to Nick, untapping my lands once more. I get 2 more clues and a treasure from the votes this time. I also go up to 56 life thanks to lifelink, and after that, I pass, while Nick dings my life total for 1 by tapping his Staff of Nin. Nick draws 2 and plays a Caltrops and then a land. With no good attacks though, he passes. At the end of turn, I crack 2 clues to draw 2 cards. My turn has me drawing and playing a Plains. I then play Drana, Liberator of Malakir, and equip her with the Sword of Feast and Famine. And then move the mask back to Kamiz. I move to combat, swinging Kamiz at Nick, and conniving off the trigger, giving it a +1/+1 counter, and making it unblockable. I then deal 4 commander damage, and connive 4 more times, discarding 4 non-land cards, and adding 4 +1/+1 counters. In my post-combat main phase, I then delve away some cards to play Treasure Cruise and pass. Nick decides to ping his Death Spitter on my end step, dealing 2 to me. Nick draws his 2, but with only a Farseek and a Forest in hand, scoops it up to my inevitable commander damage, and I win the game. Game review time. I think a lot of the reason that I got so lucky with Kamiz was having Tvit out. Getting those clues and treasure tokens really pushed me far ahead in terms of mana ramp and access to card draw if needed. I like Sword of Feast and Famine, but unfortunately with Kamiz it's a bit of a non-bow since it gives protection from black, meaning Kamiz can't target that creature. I will say that my favorite equipment in this deck so far has been that mask because my goodness did things get huge quickly. Connive is a beautiful mechanic and I'm really hoping to play with the mask a bit more in the future. Jinnie Fay is just such a cool deck when it comes to basically making tokens, since you can make it to whatever you want, either leaving it as a clue token as we saw Max do, turning them into hasty cats, or big dogs. We also kinda got to see that bootlegger stash in action, which was kind of the boogeyman of New Capenna, and although my experience is based on only this one game, I'm not too sold on it just yet. Nick always builds some of the strangest commanders, but they have the coolest interaction, and I love him for it. The light minefield to blast his opponents thanks to the brash taunter was pretty fantastic, and he was using that fight mechanic on the taunter so well with Tvit. MJ seemed to stumble a little bit early on, but once they got going, they had a really brutal grip on people's hands, and with Turgid out I could see the deck being particularly scary when they force you to discard a card. This video wouldn't be possible without the help from my sponsors, Cool Stuff Inc., Multizone, Original Magic Art, and Alter Sleeves. But it definitely wouldn't be possible without the help from you, the viewers, and my patrons. So I just want to say thank you for watching, and to remember, friends are just opponents you haven't eliminated yet.